Burnout is usually described as a personal problem. Too much work, too much stress, too little self-care. The suggested solutions are equally personal. Better time management, meditation, digital detox, resilience training, mindfulness, therapy. All of these can be helpful, but they may miss something deeper. Because what if burnout is not only an individual condition? What if burnout is also a cultural signal? A sign that something in the structure of modern life is exhausting people at a deeper level? To understand burnout properly, we have to move beyond the individual and look at the systems shaping modern consciousness. Part 1. The acceleration of modern life. Modern societies operate under a principle that was once considered progress. Acceleration. Faster communication. Faster decision-making. Faster production. Faster adaptation. Technological innovation has made it possible to compress enormous amounts of activity into very short periods of time. On paper, this should create efficiency and freedom. But psychologically, the result can be the opposite. Human attention evolved in environments that were slower, more predictable, and more relational. Our nervous system is capable of remarkable adaptation, but it still needs rhythms of integration. Modern culture often removes those rhythms. Emails arrive constantly. News updates never stop. Work follows people into their private lives through smartphones and digital platforms. Even leisure becomes optimized, scheduled, and documented. The boundary between work and life becomes porous. At first, this may feel exciting. Speed can create a sense of energy and relevance. But over time, permanent acceleration erodes the ability to recover. Burnout is not simply the result of working too much. It often emerges when there is no meaningful rhythm between engagement and restoration. Without rhythm, exhaustion accumulates quietly. Part 2. The pressure of self-optimization. Another important dimension of burnout is the cultural expectation that individuals must constantly improve themselves. Modern culture celebrates optimization. You are expected to become healthier, more productive, more creative, more emotionally intelligent, more informed, more adaptable, more resilient. At the same time, digital platforms create permanent comparison. Every achievement becomes visible. Every career path becomes measurable. Every lifestyle becomes an implicit benchmark. Success stories circulate continuously. This environment subtly communicates a powerful message: you are never finished. There is always another skill to develop, another opportunity to pursue, another level of performance to reach. For many people, this creates an internalized pressure that no external authority needs to enforce. Individuals become their own supervisors. They monitor their productivity, their emotional states, their health metrics, their social visibility. What once came from institutions now comes from within. And this is where the paradox appears. The culture that promises freedom through self-development can simultaneously create exhaustion through endless self-evaluation. Burnout often arises when the self becomes a permanent project. Part 3. The loss of meaning. But acceleration and self-optimization alone do not fully explain burnout. Another crucial factor is meaning. Human beings are capable of enormous effort when their work is connected to a sense of purpose. Meaning does not eliminate difficulty, but it organizes it. When effort serves something that feels valuable, exhaustion becomes tolerable. The problem begins when effort continues, but meaning fades. Many modern institutions struggle to provide clear narratives of purpose. Economic systems reward productivity but rarely articulate why that productivity matters beyond growth itself. Organizations may offer goals, targets, and incentives, but these are not the same as meaning. People begin to ask quiet questions. What am I actually contributing to? Why does this matter? What is the larger direction? When these questions remain unanswered, motivation becomes fragile. Work may continue. Performance may even increase, But internally, something begins to detach. Burnout often emerges precisely at this point, when the connection between effort and meaning weakens. The exhaustion people feel is not only physical or psychological, it is existential. Part 4. Information without integration. Another rarely discussed factor in burnout is the cognitive load created by modern information environments. We live in a time where individuals are exposed to an unprecedented volume of global information. Political crises, economic instability, environmental threats, technological disruption, social conflicts. The human mind absorbs these signals constantly, but knowledge without integration creates tension. When individuals are aware of many problems but feel powerless to influence them, the result can be a diffuse sense of responsibility without corresponding agency. This creates a subtle psychological burden. People feel that they should care about everything, but they cannot act on everything. Over time, this gap between awareness and action becomes exhausting. The mind tries to process signals that have no clear place in everyday life, and exhaustion follows. Part 5. Burnout as a cultural signal. If we combine these factors, acceleration, self-optimization, weakened meaning, and information overload, a broader picture emerges. Burnout is not simply a personal malfunction. It may also be a signal that modern cultural structures are operating at a speed and complexity that exceed the capacity of human integration. This does not mean individuals are powerless. Personal practices such as reflection, meditation, physical health, and emotional awareness remain valuable. They can strengthen inner stability and help people navigate complexity. But these practices should not obscure the larger context. When millions of people experience similar forms of exhaustion, the phenomenon deserves cultural reflection. Burnout may be telling us something about how modern societies organize time, attention, and meaning. Part 6. The spiritual dimension of exhaustion. This is where spirituality re-enters the discussion. Not as escapism, but as depth. Spiritual traditions have long emphasized rhythms of withdrawal and return, periods of activity balanced by periods of reflection, moments of engagement balanced by moments of silence. These rhythms allowed individuals to integrate experience rather than simply accumulate it. Modern culture often removes these spaces. Silence becomes uncomfortable. Stillness feels unproductive. Reflection is replaced by constant stimulation. Yet without inner integration, external activity becomes unsustainable. Burnout, in this sense, can sometimes be interpreted as a signal that life has lost its rhythm. The body and mind are asking for something deeper than rest. They are asking for orientation. Conclusion. Beyond personal blame. When people experience burnout, they often blame themselves. They believe they have failed to manage their time, their stress, or their emotional balance. But the reality is often more complex. Burnout is shaped by personal circumstances, but also by cultural environments that reward speed, constant improvement, and endless information without offering sufficient depth. Recognizing this does not remove personal responsibility, but it introduces compassion and clarity. Instead of asking only, "What is wrong with me?" we can also ask, "What is happening in the systems we inhabit?" Understanding burnout in this broader context opens the possibility for a different kind of response. Not only better coping strategies, but deeper reflection about how we organize work, meaning, and attention in modern societies. Burnout, then, may not simply be a personal breakdown. It may also be a message, a reminder that human consciousness needs rhythm, depth, and orientation to remain sustainable. And perhaps recognizing that message is the first step toward a healthier relationship between individual life and the cultures we create. Spirit Online. Spirituality with responsibility. Thank you for being part of the Spirit Online community. If you enjoy content about consciousness, spirituality, and the deeper dimensions of life, please subscribe and join our journey. Together, we explore ideas that inspire awareness and meaningful change. See you in the next video.